make that fist, you can knock that person out or deal a death blow to that person. That's what our unity represents.
That's right.
When we come together, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I don't know the exact percentage, but we can solve 95% or more of our problems when we unite.
That's
so
right.
we have to be united in the house, and we have to be united as a people. Right. And to close on this, the number 5 represents power, and that word unity has 5 letters. And we take that to show that that's the symbol of the Millions More movement. We know that black is not a color. Black is the essence of color, but that's the number of our people and the rest of the human family. We got the black, we got the red, we got the brown, we got the yellow, and even the poor white. So unity represents power. So we have to be unified, brothers and sisters, with Allah, Master Farah Muhammad at the head, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Christ, and follow behind their anointed servant, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you, brothers and sisters, as we continue on our illustrious program with Mayor from Accra. Assalamu alaikum. Such a beautiful spirit. Let's give another round of applause to our beloved brother David.
As you notice, with each speaker, we increasing the intensity more and more. The fire is coming more and more. So the next brother that I'm going to bring to you is not a member of the FBI, but he is a FIB. He's a formerly incarcerated brother. Our brother did several years behind, 17 years behind bars. But in his 17 years, he was representing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a student minister. He got the battle scars to prove it. But when he came to New York and reinstated back in Mosque #7, he's been working ever since. He heads up our Friday study circles. He's a good brother. He's currently staying in Rockland County. Let us bring to the round, with a round of applause, our beloved brother John Muhammad.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Praise be to Allah. Let's give our sister minister a round of applause. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace to be said in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. Happy Savior's Day.
Happy Savior's Day.
I want to call us to our attention to thinking about what this Savior's Day represents. Before I do that, let me thank our East Coast Regional Representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Minister ABDUL Hafeez Muhammad, for these brief minutes to stand and represent him and help him in his work, to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. From 1935 to 1975, it's exactly 40 years that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad worked among us independent of the presence in person of Master Farah Muhammad, although he was guided by him.
That's right.
From 1977 to 2017, we have another 40 years of the work of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, independent of the presence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Teach us.
The messenger teaches us, so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the number 40 represents preparation. We know that 4 represents foundation, but 40, a 4 with a 0, is a time of preparation.
Come on, teach.
In history, we see that not only it is a time of preparation, but it is a time of examination.
Come on.
For us now, it is a time of separation.
Come on.
And inshallah, a time of reparation.
Come on, black man. Teach us. Lay that out, man.
We want to reflect on the 40 days that it takes for an embryo in the womb to develop. We want to study the 40 weeks of a gestation period before a baby is delivered.
Come on.
We want to study how Israel served the Philistines for 40 years before Samson's deliverance.
Come on, man.
A period of preparation. 40 days of rain in the times of Noah. Is that right? And as it says that it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. We've had 40 years of revelation.
Come on. Come on.
40 years of Moses in the land of Midian in the desert, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad were here in America for 40 years among us.
Yes, sir.
40 days on Mount Sinai. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been gone for 40 years.
Come on.
Goliath taunted Saul's army for 40 days before David arrived to slay him.
Come on.
So they were taunted. And then after that 40-year time period, David was prepared to come and slay his enemy. All of this is significant to 2018. Jesus was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days and for 40 nights. And in between Jesus' resurrection and his ascension are exactly 40 days. What does that mean? We have 40, from 1977 when Minister Farrakhan was resurrected, of being the first of those who slept.
Yes, sir.
Come on. 40 years now is the time for his ascension, his exaltation, his appointment on high.
Come on.
David and Solomon also ruled both independently for 40 years each. This is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And lastly, in Roman numerals, 40 is an X and an L. Is that right? Come on. And we read that from right to left, but we reverse it. We have an L and an X. Is that right? Come on. That's Louis X, who is now Louis Farrakhan. I'm going to prove at no limit of time that this is a time of preparation. Today is February 18th, is that right?
Yes, sir.
2018.
Yes, sir.
We have 2 2s and we have 2 18s, is that right? February is 2, today's the 18th. 2 and 18 is what?
Come on.
20. 2018. 2 and 18 is what? 20 and 20 is what? 40. Time of preparation. And representing stand with I thank you for listening. May Allah continue to bless you. Happy Savior's Day.
Come on, give it up, family. All praise is due to Allah. As I said, with each speaker, it's increasing. I mean, he was going off of them 40s. I was waiting for him to break down. Us trying to take the 40 ounce out of the hand of the black man.
Let's start with that.
Praise be to Allah. Oh, man. I want to acknowledge him, and we'll hear from him a little later, but we have one of our international representatives, a divinely inspired representative of Minister Farrakhan from Trinidad, our beloved student minister, David Muhammad, in the house, standing up. We'll hear from him a little later on. Is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
See, let me tell you something. This is the NBA All-Star game right there. All right? At this time, I'd like to bring up a brother who is a very smooth brother.
Here we go.
I honor him because not only did he come up through the ranks, first as a squad leader, then as a lieutenant, then he entered into student ministry. But he was called from our class some years ago to head up the mosque in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
That's right.
And he served his time in the believers there, and when he came to reestablish himself back here at Mosque #7, he's always been a humble servant, playing his position with the desire to lift up the consciousness of black people wherever they are. Let us bring to the roster my beloved brother, Teddy Muhammad, with a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sir.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. Let me greet you in the greeting words of peace. So, Assalamu alaikum.
Sir.
First, happy Savior's Day.
Happy Savior's Day.
And I too want to thank our beloved minister, the Eastern Regional Minister, Dr. ABDUL Hafeez Muhammad.
That's right.
You know, I am grateful to Allah, and I want to just say I thank Allah for being woken up this morning.
Come on.
And I want to bear witness that Allah is sufficient for me. and all of my needs. And I prayed to Allah that one day He would become sufficient for you.
Come on.
For those who are visiting and for those who know. Let Him be sufficient for you. You know, my brother was just talking about preparation. And the thing about preparation, brothers and sisters, you have to have information. And the only information that we need today that is going to save our life is something that the enemy has kept from us. There are 3 figures that the enemy has kept hidden from you and I. And these 3 figures are critical to you and I surviving in this day and time. In fact, these 3 figures are very important to the degree that they will change your life. Now let me just put it this way. When something is hidden from you and I, what they do, they keep it out of sight. They conceal it. They camouflage it. They disguise it, and they mask it. Now, these 3 figures have been concealed from you and I, have been camouflaged from you and I.
Teach.
But these 3 figures are so important to you and I, if we don't know who they are, then we can't be prepared.
Come on.
We cannot get prepared for the day that is upon us, which is independence as a nation, as a people. I know you think this white man's world is going to last forever. I'm sorry to inform you, but that is not going to happen. There's a new nation on the scene, and that nation is the nation of Islam. When one conceals something from you, they keep it from your sight. They obscure you with it, and they cloud you. Why would they want to cloud you from figures? These 3 figures. Why would they want to cover them? Why would they want to obscure them? Because they're so important to you and I that they have to hide them. They have to conceal them. They have to camouflage them. When one camouflages something, they disguise it, they cover it, they screen it, they make it appear like everything else. Well, let me tell you about these 3 figures that you and I must know. Because they're not like anybody else. These 3 figures are: 1, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. These 2 figures they have kept from you and I for a very long time. Why hide the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Because the wisdom and the knowledge that he has for you and I will save your life. I think Jesus put it like this: you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Elijah Muhammad is the truth teller. Elijah Muhammad is the one that's taking names and giving X. You want to give X, you come to Elijah. All praises due to Allah. Farrakhan.
That's right.
Let me say that name again.
Farrakhan.
That figure.
Go ahead. That's right.
I saw him in 98 for the first, 89 for the first time. And I'm telling you, I'm as straight as an arrow, but I fell in love with that man. I fell in love with that man. I saw him on Donahue. And he was sitting so majestically like the lion in the desert. And I kept saying to myself, that's Farrakhan. I was listening to him a tape for years, but I was like, that's Farrakhan. I fell in love. And I knew I had to go and find that man. Because that figure, and let me just share what a figure is. A person's bodily shape, attractive. Is he not attractive? I remember he said in 85, in Jacob Jack, Madison Square Garden, he said, I'm not an ugly dude. God made me kind of handsome, you know. So let me say it this way. The figure, the person or persons of importance and of distinction, of model. These three men, these figures, have to be known. And the last figure, and it is important because they hide those 2 figures, because that figure will lead you to the figure. And that figure is the Savior. Master Muhammad.
How you feel? How you feel? I'm feeling fine as well. All praises due to Allah. love good preaching. It makes you feel good. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Make you want to just go out into the community and spread the
That's
good
right.
news
That's right.
and
That's
share
right.
and uplift people. Is that right?
That's right.
Because just to feel good and not do anything about it,
Come on.
that's just vanity.
Go ahead.
That's right. Good point.
Yes. Yes. So at this time, I'd like to bring up a brother who's been working in Brooklyn for some time. He's a very consistent brother. And he's a very real and grounded, down-to-earth brother. When you see him and you hear him, you could tell that he came from the streets of Brooklyn. But he's in that refinery machine called the FOI. Let us bring up to the roster Brother Anthony. Round of applause.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad is indeed his messenger. I like to greet my brothers and my sisters in the nation's greeting words of peace and paradise. We say it in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. How's my family? Fine. Praise be to Allah. I'm fine as well, striving to make my word my bar. Could you give it up for those who came before me? If this was a baseball team, these men hit before me. So now I have to come up behind them. I refuse to strike out. But if I have to do something, if I have to do anything to help the team, I'll at least take a walk. I'm going to get on base and bring somebody home. So I say, brothers and sisters, Happy Savior's Day. Say it again. Happy Savior's Day. Come on now. These are the holy days as opposed to the holidays. So you have been given something that you can say no other people have been given a time like the holy days like we have. We have a man, Master Farah Muhammad, who came to find that which was lost. You heard that so many times. I'm playing the record over now. Come on. He is the one that said, or he is the one that is qualified to bring the bottom rail to the top.
Yes, sir.
He's also qualified to take the rejected stone and make that stone a precious stone.
That's right.
A foundational stone. One that will be used as the cornerstone.
Go ahead. Yes,
So I'm looking at a foundation in front of me.
Yes, sir.
That was here when I came.
Yeah.
So I just brought in a chair to sit on the foundation.
Yes, sir.
That was already here. And as brother said, trying to be consistent. To have a seat among the gods of the planet Earth, because we make up Allah.
That's right. Yes. That's right.
And I'll say this again, that the one who came, he came like one with the fullest soul to purify those of us that have been under the stench of the skunk. He also came to mine us out of the hell that we had been embedded in using the refinery's fire. So you and I have come out of it now with great substance. But we are now going to a place that was established for us to join and to go on a pilgrimage, that we will come together under this one August body of men and women that will come back from Savior's Day with a full tank. The tank will be full of spirit. And it should be. Is that right? And the tank will be full of faith.
Yes, sir.
Because it should be. Is that right? And also that tank should be full of purpose. So as brother said, you want to now leave here with the purpose of knowing that you have a mission out there.
That's right.
And that mission was given to the men and women of God.
That's right.
Nobody has been given the mission mission that we've been given. To go after the dead. Not physically, but those who are mentally dead. Our brother said that if you go into the prison and raise up a dead man there, you have done the awesome task of raising somebody who the enemy had his foot on his neck for that time.
Come on, man.
So you and I can go out to the streets of America and go after those same people that may have come from those bowels of the prisons. But then we have those that work under the enemy. We go into his places that we work and bring in money to our families to manage our affairs. But then what he does is he trains us.
Come on now.
We don't want the trained man and woman no more. We want the educated man and woman. Because a trained man is only trained to continue the works of his enemy and to raise up his world and to lower yours. So we don't want the trained man and woman when we come back from Savior's Day. We want the educational man and woman to rise. So brothers and sisters, I'll leave you with this. That when we have been given the scriptures, we were given scriptures and we are in the scriptures. But you have to find yourself in those scriptures. But I'll leave you with this. The scriptures are clear. It said that a nation is going to be given the kingdom, and that nation is a nation carved out by God for himself. The black man and woman. So you and I are that nation. And when we come back from Savior's Day, let's prove to this nation that we are going to be the nation that will rise and fall never again. May Allah bless you.
I don't know if Brother Joe turned the heat up, but I'm feeling the fire. Our next brother that we're going to bring up, probably next to Brother Minister Hafeez, has the most years of ministry than the whole staff. I admire him. He pushed me as a young man to entertain ministry when I was a lieutenant. His brother is very stately, very articulate, very relevant, and he heads up the community in Inglewood, New Jersey. Let us bring to the roster my brother,
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but He, and that Muhammad is His servant. I greet you all again in our nation's greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I'm a bit overwhelmed, I have to tell you, after sitting here and listening to all of my brothers who are really, truly well-versed and well-studied. And you can see it all in them as they bring this all out. But I want to thank Allah for the nature of these individuals.
Praise be to
I want
Allah.
to thank Allah for coming to us in the person of one Master, Prophet Muhammad.
Come on.
He is the one who had come and injected himself into the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who then injected himself into the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is now injecting himself into the world of black people here in America. I believe that Allah came to us to offer us an invitation. Each one of you have come here by an invitation of a friend or a family member or an acquaintance. But in all of those invitations, the invitation ultimately came from Allah, God.
That's right.
You are being invited into the kingdom of God on earth. Let me correct that. You're being invited to construct the kingdom of God on earth. It isn't something that's over there, over there, over there. It's going to be built into a people who then have to go and make a new world order that would be the reflecting light of what Allah is. See, when you see Jesus or you see one of the apostles or an image that they create, then say that's him, and you see this big disc behind their heads, and they say, well, that's a halo. And you figure you want to see somebody walk around with a big disc around their head, and that makes them a good person.
Come on.
But it's only a representation. It is an indication of the light of God coming out of the mind of an individual. And so what you're seeing is the rays of light coming out of their mind. And so when you look at the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you see that halo. Because that halo is contagious. When you come into the light will reflect through you. And you become that representative of the word as well. So we are here to reason with you.
Come on now.
To call you to a purpose. Because when Master Father Muhammad came here to America, we heard the brother say a person experiences real joy when they find a purpose for themselves.
Come on.
Master Father Muhammad came here to America to give you your purpose.
Come on.
Because it's not enough to be a good person.
Right.
You go to church and they tell you about Jesus said and Jesus wept and Jesus did and be like Jesus and be a nice person.
Come on.
Jesus wasn't just trying to be a nice person. He was trying to give us the onslaught, the beginning of the kingdom of God on earth. But we are here now. And the reality of things. And that kingdom is to be built here, now, today, by you.
Yes.
I'm going to close with this. Think about this.
Think about it.
After all the plagues came onto Pharaoh,
Right.
Pharaoh sooner or later said, get the heck out of here. He let the children of Israel loose. But we are looking at the modern day Pharaoh. We are looking at their financial system breaking down. We are looking at their moral system being revealed for what it is. We are looking at them fighting amongst one another to the point where they're going to say, something got to get up out of here because we can't go on like this. And so what are they going to do? They're going to have to let the children of Israel, you and I, go.
That's right.
And what is that going to be? Well, it looks something like this. Maybe 8 to 10 states. Come on. 8 to 10 states that will be the landmass of a nation that already exists.
That's right.
That's right.
The nation of Islam.
That's right.
What will happen when that landmass is given to you? Our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean will ask to become part of that landmass.
Come on.
What will happen after that? Our brothers and sisters in Panama will ask to become part of that landmass. Our brothers and sisters in Brazil will ask to become part of that landmass. Why? Because they're going to observe the majesty of God and a nation grounded in Master Father Muhammad. Happy citizens.
Y'all feel good? The minister said that his ministers have to be flames of fire. One hand in the air if you're feeling good. Let me say this. We can't feel so good knowing that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is under attack. As powerful as he is to us, there are people who cannot stand the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. From the right-wing Jewish-controlled press, to some jealous and angry Christian pastors, to some social media scholars, can't stand the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so as we feel good, we got to stay on guard because our minister is under attack, and we the believers say, hands off Farrakhan. Is that right or wrong? I expected from the Jewish-controlled press. Because in 1984, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told the truth to the entire world when they were coming after Jesse Jackson, saying, ruin Jesse, ruin, and bombing his campaign headquarters. The minister stood up for Jesse and said, you will not put your hands on Jesse. In fact, you are not the real Jews. We are the chosen people of God. And from that time, they have been attacking the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And our beloved brother minister did not back down from the fight. He didn't tiptoe. He didn't moonwalk. He stood up by himself and with a nation and told the truth. Because when you hurl the truth at falsehood, it knocks the brains out of falsehood until it vanishes. Is that right? So I expect them and anyone who is attached to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, they try to scare. So I salute Sister Erykah Badu for not cowering down and saying, I stand with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I salute Ricky Rose and Birdman and all of the rappers rappers from the south to the north to the east to the west who say, I stand with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But you got some weak ones, boy. Come on. I repudiate him. I may not necessarily reject the messenger, but I reject the message. Master, boss, can I get $1? Can I get some money for my campaign? Those is weak ones. And those are the ones that can't be trusted. There's no such thing as halfway crooks. And there's no such thing as halfway black men. Either you're going to be black all the way or step out the way. All praise to Jesus for Allah. All praise to Jesus for Allah. So I expect those members of the synagogue of Satan to dog our minister. But I don't expect these so-called studio gangster YouTube thugs to go against the minister who's been on the battlefield since 1955 for the liberation and the salvation of our people. They go behind their little computer and talk big stuff. Yes, sir. These dudes and dudettes don't even have 10 followers. Not 10 followers who would give their own lives for their life, let alone 10,000 fearless that would not only give their life for the leader, but literally go into the community and sacrifice their life to make peace for our people. All praise is due to Allah. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, pound for pound, has the best followers that any leader has here in the United States of America. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. You know why? Because we are the sacrificing one. You know why? Many of us make character adjustments to be down with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. To our visitors and guests, I want you to know what you're looking at. Many of us didn't have the hairstyles that you see today. Some of us was dreaded up. If you came in the 80s, you was Jerry curled up. Is that right? Some of us was cutthroats, pickpockets, pimps, which is a poor imitation of a male person. Come on. Some of us was gamblers, gun runners, number runners, pickpockets, thieves, knockout artists, haters of self and kind. But we heard a word, and we knew that we could not stay the same. You can't put a new wine in an old wine sack. So we have to come with the new wine, which is really the real wine, which is righteousness, your own self. So brothers and sisters, we made a change. We don't walk the way we walk. We don't dress the way we used to dress. We are striving to be perfect examples, and that is the power of the dedication and the sacrifice that we have for this nation of Islam to change the old cavey ways, the old slave ways, the nigger culture, and to step into God's culture. All praise is due to Allah. So we want to go further. Is everybody all right? Yes, this brother right here, who I'm about to bring up, go ahead. He speaks with the articulation and the profundity of the best in the theological seminary. But he's not like them. No. As scholarly as he is, he has a certain love, a certain compassion, a certain courageousness to challenge strongholds, not with flowery words, but if he got to ball up his fist and take a stand and put his 2 feet on the ground and his hands up to represent and defend black people, he will do so because Farrakhan don't make punks. Is that right? You got any punks in the house? No, sir. You ain't in the right spot. Unless we're going to make you strong into being a fearless man. But this man represents throughout the Caribbean, and he does a fantastic
That's
job.
right.
He believes there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. Let's bring up to the roster my dear brother, Brother Minister David Muhammad, with a round of applause.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you in the greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu Alaikum. It is indeed an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to have the opportunity to share a few brief thoughts with you as we prepare for Savior's Day, the greatest occasion in the black community internationally.
Come on.
Anywhere that you could go, there's a heaven on earth experience where we all come together at the end of February every year.
Yeah.
But I want to share one quick idea with us, because every time we prepare to hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we have to open up our minds. But we have to understand how our minds work in order to properly open them to receive something substantial out of wisdom that many times is missed. Our mind was designed after the model of the mind of God.
Go ahead now.
Right.
In Surah 54 in the Quran, in verses 17, 22, 32, and 40, they all say the same thing, which is that Allah made this Quran easy to remember.
That's right.
But is there anyone who will mind? Now, mind here is not just a noun as an abstract noun, but mind is also a verb, as in something to do as well as something that is. So we're being told that our mind was created in such a way to be able to retain the kind of content that is contained in the Holy Quran. But after we ingest or intake it, we also have to be able to utilize or process it and evaluate and analyze the content and substance of it, and then use it for our spirit and soul. Other than that, we just hear it and miss it. Now, in a message entitled Belief in Allah by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 1994, he explained that there's a difference between the brain and the mind. He said that there's a difference between an idea and a thought. The minister said that the brain is the hub of mental activity. And thoughts, like ideas, are rooted in this mental activity, but the brain is simply a zone or dimension that has the potential to create thought, but the mind is the actual generation of the motion, of the movement of ideas to create thoughts which are empowering solutions to the problems and challenges that we face. Each of us have a mind, but we don't use it because we are not mindful, we are mindless. This is how the mind works.
Go ahead.
We have a cell phone that can transfer information from one device to another device without there being any physical connection. You can use either Bluetooth or infrared. The devices actually don't have to touch.
That's right.
If you have a radio, you can listen here to something that is taking place so many thousands of miles away because there is a connection through waves. These waves are electronic and electromagnetic. When we think, you can measure the electrical currents in the thought process on a device that is called an electroencephalograph. But look at this, it's very, very simple. Think of a pond of still water. When you throw a stone into the water, you see three features of the waves. You see a number of waves or ripples coming out, that is the frequency.
Go ahead.
You see the distance between the waves, that is the wavelength. And then the height of the wave is called the amplitude. So the same way when you have a radio, I know many of us may not know about this, but back in the days when we used to listen to an FM radio, FM is frequency modulation, AM is amplitude modulation, and then you have SW and LW, which is long wave and short wave. Now, when you think you have a frequency, amplitude, and wavelength of thought that is in accordance with the activity that you're thinking about, and if you have a vision, that means you have tuned into an idea that is not in your head, but that was somewhere else. The mind of Master Farad Muhammad, which set the current world in motion as it is and has power and control, is a mind that we can aspire to get into the same frequency, amplitude, and wavelength as. This is what prayer is. It's not just the repetition and reciting of words and thoughts that were written as literature thousands of years ago, but it is the internalization of a spirit-centered idea that inspires the human being when he connects with his Lord. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said there are 3 stages on which the human being can exist. The lowest level, which is the level of the beast, who is controlled by his appetite. The middle level, which is the level of man, that is governed by his emotions. But the highest level, which is the level of God, that is governed by reason and logic. Reason and logic is mathematics. Mathematics is arithmetic, geometry, and algebra. Algebra is the use of the known to discover the unknown. Discovering the unknown is the application and finding of solutions. Having solutions in the black prepare ourselves to listen to the minister for Savior's Day. We cannot just go in the attitude and spirit and character of the dead Negro after 400 years of slavery, being beaten down, humiliated, frustrated, in grief, depression, and frustration, and anger, and rage, taking out all our pain and bitterness on one another. We have to internalize a new kind of love, which prepares us to receive from Him to give to everyone else. I know for a fact that I can never, ever repay the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for what he did for me. I know that for a fact. That when I was 22 years old, I'm going to be 48 this year, when I was 22 years old, a total stranger to the minister, just moved from the land of my birth, England, to the land of my parents' birth, Trinidad. And the minister heard that I was trying to start to study. He invited me to be with his family in St. Kitts for 2 days for his 40th wedding anniversary. I was a total stranger. I could never, ever pay him back for that. But what I can do is pay it forward to someone else and give our youth I say as I close, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was in Trinidad on March the 25th, 2012, speaking to a packed audience in East Port of Spain, he called me to the front. And he said, passing through Port of Spain, it's like a mouth with teeth missing, because there are so many abandoned lots in all of our ghetto communities. We have to come together, unite, pool our resources, and start to buy land and build institutions. And then he said on March 25th, we have to start a United National Trust Savings Fund to buy land. 1 year later, 2013, which was the 50th anniversary of African Liberation Day, which was started by His Imperial Majesty Emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, and the Rastafarian movement. They celebrated 50 years in 2013, and we had our first annual African Liberation Day celebration, where we started that fund under the instructions of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. 2 years later, we got 3/4 of an acre of state land. We fenced it around, we cut down trees, we cleared out forested areas, we did land excavation, and about 7 months later we were ready to start building. We had absolutely nothing. Well, on May 26th this year, we will be opening our mosque and education center in Trinidad and Tobago in East Port of Spain. will be taught in it, or the classes that will be held, or the counseling sessions, or the FOI, the MGT, the webcast. No, it is by the fact that we got land and we had no money. But everyone came together and pooled their resources in $1, $2, $5, 10s and 20s. And today we have a 6,000 square foot building with 5 different rooms, and we're going to continue to develop that whole compound. And when we're finished with that model, we will go to another area, another district, unite our people over there under the principle of the free economic program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's not just something for us to read about, but it's something for us to put into action, to get up as the dead Lazarus, loose Satan from us after we weep, and then go forth and do the work, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in chapter 10 of Message to the Black Man, land of our own qualifications, that unity upward from slavery is our salvation. We have been made to hate one another through slavery, but in spite of all of the division, disunity, hatred, disharmony, destabilization, death, doubt, and grief in the black community, under the instructions of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have chosen to love one another in spite of whatever differences we may have, so that we can unite around each other. Thank you so much. I pray that I see some of you in Trinidad and Tobago. We have 3 days of activities, starting with the Juma on Friday, May 25th, finishing on Sunday, May 27th. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I love you so much. May Almighty God continue to bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
Ugly face teacher. Because when you start, I introduce him, Brother David, you like this. Next thing you like, oh. That's ugly face teacher. Let's give our beloved brother a round of applause. Now you see, brothers and sisters, we know something about warning. Warning is a good thing.
That's right.
Because it gives you time.
That's right.
To get ready.
That's right.
When you hear thunder,
listen, it's too late.
No, brother, see, if you understand, you have some time to seek shelter. Because the storm is coming.
That's right.
Well, today, Brother Hafeez will be the storm, but the thunder before the storm will be our beloved brother and Brooklyn representative, Mr. Henry Muhammad. Let's give him a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful God, the one true and living God who came to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad, to whom holy praise is due forever. We're forever thankful to him for raising from among us a divine messenger whom we see to be the Messiah, the exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank them both for giving us an extension of themselves in our divine reminder and warning. We see him as a son of the living God. He's our brother, he's our champion of true freedom, justice, and equality, standing on the front line, a little Messiah in the midst of us. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. As in those 3 great names, I'd like to greet you, brothers and sisters, in the greetings of words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. How's everyone? Fine, sir. Praise be to Allah. I find myself striving hard to make my word bond, fighting for Islam, because I know we will surely win. Let us give all of our brothers in the ministry and well deserved round of applause. All praise is due Allah. I mean, after Brother David, you gotta be like, look, start counting the stars in heaven. Because that brother, he just has a certain gift. And it's the beauty of it all, brothers and sisters, is that we stand here representing you. See, if you have not done it unto the least of these, you've also done it unto me. Or if you've done it unto the least of these, you've also done it unto me. So as servants in this, when we think about the stars that's in the sky, it's a constellation, is that right? It's hard to pick out which one is more beautiful than the other.
Right.
Because they're all stars. So there's none of us, this is where Allah gives us our equality.
Go ahead.
As long as we stand in the name of Allah, bearing witness to God, in our own person, with our own personality and letting them use us, then we become equal. So there's no better one than the other one, because each one is unique. We thank Allah for our brother ABDUL Hafeez Muhammad to take the opportunity to let everybody come up and share the testimony and wisdom of God. That's right. Come on. We are all thankful for God. Let's give Now I know we heard a lot today and we're prepared to hear from our brother. But as we know, Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam, and it can be proven at no limit of time. When we go into the number 18, we deal with the 18th surah of the Holy Quran. It's called the cave. And in that surah, it talks about people being in a cave. And it talks about people being in a cave for a certain amount of time. And it talks about their dog being their protector at the mouth of the cave. And that when they become awake, they don't even realize how long they were in the cave. But that surah also speaks about Moses deeply traveling with a wise man. Now we know we can go all deep into that, brothers and sisters, and some of us that understand the wisdom of the teachings, we may say to ourselves, well, a white man was in the cave, and he came out of the cave over 4,000 years ago. And it was Moses that was sent to them to lift them up out of the wilderness. In the scripture it says, and Moses lifted the serpent from the wilderness. That's dealing with some of that history of the cave-like mentality of white people. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, I didn't raise you up to make mockery of white people as being the devil. He said, because if you keep doing that, they can turn to you and say, yeah, but you made me. See, now that becomes a big one, is that right? What am I getting at? Here are people that came out of the caves and hillsides of Europe and didn't even know how to bury their dead. Didn't know how to season their food. Was afraid of fire. The dog was their best friend. And after Moses came to them, he gave them civilization. And that civilization you read about in the book of Genesis, in the Pentateuch, was the 5 first books of Moses called Genesis. It doesn't say it's the first 5 books of God. It's the 5 books of Moses. Moses had some wisdom that he got from somewhere. Is that right? God raised Moses and sent Moses to the caves and hillsides of Europe to raise them up. Well, if Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam and it can be proven in no limit of time, then the geometrical part of that. Listen. Side angle A, you got people in the caves and hillsides of Europe 4,000 years ago. Is that right? In a decrepit condition, in a dark, dreary place. Then you have 4,000 years later, black people. Come on now. Being kidnapped from Africa, that which is called Africa. Brought on a westerly course, hit in the head, robbed of the raiment, the fabric of righteousness that came from the originator. Buried in the north corner called North America. And put in a cave-like condition. Now, we have to admit that our condition has been a cave-like condition. Here's a caveman that has been cleaned up, civilized by Moses with a board in his back of the law of Deuteronomy. The most exquisite and knowledgeable ones among them call themselves Jews. But they have built skyscrapers. They built the White House on our back. They built all that you see on the backs of our ancestors. Is that right? But in order for them to do that, they had to rob us of our raiment, of the knowledge of our God, our history, our ancestry. They had to take us out of our mother's dressing room and strip us down and put us in burlap. Is that right? And in doing that, we forgot how to bury our dead. Now we have wakes. where we're sitting and waiting for 3 or 4 days and sometimes a week, then maybe they might just wake up. In the midst of all that embalming fluid and everything else, you think somebody gonna get up out of there? Because that's where that weight came from. Is that right? Yes. Now we're wearing black to funerals, like as though we're paying some respect. Who taught us that?
Come on.
Now we don't know how to bury our dead. We forgot the way to bury our dead is that we wash the body down and we bury them within 3 days, and we don't put no embalming fluid on, and we wrap the body and we put oils on, and we face it toward the east, and we do a janazah. Now we're doing funerals according to who? According to this caveman. Is that right? Now when we're going door to door on behalf of God and His messenger, we knock on the door, the first thing we're hearing is crazy music.
That's right.
Next thing we hear is a dog bark.
That's right.
Then we hear a cave talk. Who that? See, the caveman used to mark his body up. Now we tattooed up. Now we got piercings all around our ear. We elongating our ear. Is that right? We got some of us got piercings through our nose. Some of us got piercings in our tongue, in our navel. We just lost our mouth. Like the caveman. So what do you think if a Moses was sent to them, that God would send a Moses to us? Didn't we say in the book of Moses that I'm going to raise up a prophet likened unto thee, Moses? And the latter day, see, there's going to be a prophet like Moses. There's going to be a people like the people that Moses had to go to. All praise to the Lord. All praise to the Lord. The honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir. That's right.
God, my God.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Eli means God.
That's right.
E-L-I. Shah. Shah, Rastafari. That means God. So when you say Elijah, you're saying God, my God. And the book of Isaiah says to us, unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given.
That's right.
Oh man, and he shall have a government upon his shoulder. And he shall be called Wonderful. Counselor. Don't we need counselor? Counselor. The mighty, the Prince of Peace, the mighty God. Not almighty, but the mighty God. And we got to know, man, we came up as slaves, man, and from your beautiful womb, sister, you produced a mighty God.
Yes, sir. That's right.
I mean, that should make every black woman jump to their feet and clap to the heavens, because Elijah Muhammad,
That's right.
Come on.
came from a black woman.
That's right.
Come on.
Don't you know it is written in the book, in the Holy Quran, that they argued
Come on. Hey, boy.
over who would have charge over Mary? Because Mary was so special. She was a black woman.
That's right.
But she was a different kind of black woman. She was that kind of black woman that was kept in hiding, kept under the protection of Allah from the devil.
Yes, sir.
Right.
They argued over who would have charge over her. And Mary was the one to give birth to the Messiah.
Yes, sir.
But the Messiah we're talking about wasn't 2,000 years
No.
ago.
Wasn't that one?
Jesus of 2,000 years ago is our brother. We believe in him. We love Allah
That's
for
right.
him.
Yes, sir.
But he was just a prophet.
That's right.
For if he was the Christ, we wouldn't even be meeting like this right
That's
now.
right, brother.
If he was the Christ, we would have never went through slavery. God don't bring a redeemer to take care of the devil and get rid of his world and then change his mind and let everybody go back into hell again.
Clear that up.
Jesus was a sign.
That's right.
Just as we were coming across the Tri-Borough Bridge, you see the sign for Brooklyn, you see the sign for Queens, you see the sign for Manhattan, you see the sign for going up into the Bronx. Come on. We don't stop at the sign. That'd be an accident. We keep going to our destination, is that right? So all praises to Allah. All praises to Allah. The Holy Quran says Jesus and his mother Mary from Allah, then they were a sign that was recognizing or pointing us to a person and a people.
Yes, sir.
Mary, there's 6 Marys spoken about in the Bible.
That's right.
All of them were black women.
That's right.
And they had different personality and characters. And so when you look at those Marys, you're looking at different characteristics of the black woman.
That's right.
But they're all signs of a black woman that would be displaced from her original land and people and mind, as our brother was speaking about, into another land where she would be like Hagar without a man. Now, who's going to deal with the widow and her orphan son? Good question. Here we are, those who represent in our person, in our reality, orphans.
Yes, sir.
And the black woman is the widow, but she don't know she's married. She don't know Hagar is a sign of her. Running in between the mountains. Muhammad said mountains here represent governments.
Come on.
Running in between the governments of America,
That's right.
trying to find a place where she can find to be able to be comfortable and get the kind of help that she needs, and nobody will accept her. Eventually she lays down her burden and gives it up to the Lord.
Yeah.
But brothers and sisters, that has been our plight for the past 400 years.
Yes, sir.
From 1555
That's right.
to 1955.
That's right.
We have been in that kind of condition. We have been turned inside out and upside down and made to think like cave people, not thinking from our own mind, which is the mind of God. And then God raises from among the black woman a Jesus for us.
Yes,
A Jesus for us. See, Master Muhammad.
come on, bro.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says this in our latest edition of the Final Call.
Yeah.
He came that we may have life. Is that right?
Yeah.
He says Jesus of 2,000 years ago was a prophet. He did a prophetic work. But the Jesus that is the great figure in both Bible and Quran is the Messiah. The Messiah is not a prophet. This Messiah is a human being acting in the place of God with the wisdom and power that does not belong to him, but he has been anointed. That's right.
Anointed.
Now the Quran verifies the truth of the Bible.
Yes, sir. Right.
It says in the Quran, Allah says, we take the best of narratives.
That's right.
So you hear about some of the prophets and the stories of prophets in the Quran that you read about in the Bible, but it's a little bit different because Allah is only using the best of it.
Exactly. That's right.
And then the law uses the Quran to verify the truth of the Bible. Why? Because through King James and others, they have tampered with that. And it needs to be reinterpreted so that mankind will not be scarred by the falsehoods that have been added to it. This is what the Muslims believe. So we know there's a lot of truth in the Bible, but one would have to come to unlock the truth of the Bible and bring out the wisdom of the Quran. And so Jesus is quoted as saying, I thank you, Father in heaven, for keeping these things from the wise and the prudent and delivering it unto babes. None of us been in theology school.
No, sir. That's right.
How did you bear witness to all that you heard? We ain't got no theology school that we go. We're babies in this. But we got somebody in the midst of us that God has spoken to. All praises to Allah. So when Jesus says it's expedient for you that I go away, for if I go not away, the Comforter cannot come. He will be the Spirit of truth that will guide you into all truth. He didn't say he was coming back. He said the Comforter will come back. He said the Comforter will come in my name. He will bear witness of me and my word.
Teach, brother.
So the Quran clears it up. It says, and when the angel said, O Mary, surely Allah gives thee good news with a word from him, of one whose name is the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, worthy of regard in this world and the hereafter, and of those who are drawn nigh to Allah. And he will speak to the people when in the cradle and when of old age, and he will be one of the good ones. She said, my Lord, how can I have a son and man has not yet touched me? He said, even so, Allah creates what he pleases. When he decrees a matter, he only says to it be, And it is. See, what you and I read about Joseph and Mary is a sign of Master Fard Muhammad and Honorable Elijah Muhammad's relationship.
Yes, sir.
That under the cover of darkness at the time when America was in their Great Depression,
Teach, brother.
it was like a dust storm
Come on,
for them because they're a capitalistic society and their money was dropping. One snuck in under the cover of darkness.
Yes, sir.
In
Teach it,
sinful
brother.
flesh to condemn the
Teach it,
sin
brother.
and courted our brother Elijah, who became Elijah Muhammad. They impregnated him with wisdom and manna from God.
That's right.
And put a government on his shoulders because
Teach,
of what
brother.
he put in his head. How can I have a son and man has not yet touched him? It is easy for Allah. All he says is be it is. And it says, and make him a messenger to the children of Israel. Don't you know you are the children of Israel? Why do you think the Star of David is on the back of your dollar bill? If Israel is all the way in the Middle East. And this is a capitalistic society, and the dollar got George Washington on it, letting you know it's the first. Why is the Star of David there? A Jewish star? And the eagle is on there, a bird of prey. With arrows in one claw and an olive branch in the other, talking peace but ready for war. You are the children of Israel. Why is the pyramid there? It's representing your ancestry, the wisdom and the hidden wisdom that they don't know, with the missing capstone, with the all I see. You are the children of Israel. You and I get the prophecy given to Abraham. They'll be seen in a strange land among a strange people, 400 years despised and rejected. After that time, God would come, judge that nation, and bring out his people into the promised land. And they will go to their fathers in a good old age. It's only those that will follow Abraham's wisdom that would come by God's permission. Because there's a Lazarus that stayed at the master's table, and then there's a Lazarus that was in the bosom of Abraham. That the master ended up coming to that Lazarus, asking him for a drink of water. You don't know this white man going to come to us eventually, looking for salvation? What does that mean to us? We're going to say no. We want justice.
That's right.
Is that right? Don't we say we want justice for all? Regardless to creed, class, or color? They don't have to believe like we believe for us to give them justice. They can be blood, they can be crip. We want justice for them. They can be Aryan nation. We want justice for them. Why? Because we're coming in the name of Allah.
Very good.
And when you come in the name of Allah, we have to mature the way that we look
That's
at
right.
it, because we're responsible for the whole human family.
Yes, we are.
Is that right? So make him a messenger to the children of Israel, saying, I have come to you with a sign from your Lord that I determined. For you out of the dust, the form of a bird, then I breathe into it, and it becomes a bird with Allah's permission, and I heal the blind and the leprous and bring the dead to life with Allah's permission, and I inform you of what you should eat and what you should store in your houses. Surely there is a sign in this for you if you are believers. But before that, Allah talks about what he's going to put in that child. He says that Allah says Allah creates what he pleases, and when he desires a matter, he says to it be and it is. But he tells Mary that he will teach this child the book. He will teach this child the wisdom of the book. He will teach this child the gospel. I mean the Torah and the gospel. Is that right? Well, the book is Al-Kitab, which is known as the Holy Quran. He's going to teach that child this book. Not reveal it to him, teach it to him. And he's going to teach that child what? The Torah, which is the Old Testament. And he's going to teach that child the gospel, which is the Injil, the New Testament. Is that right? In that order. But the Quran came after the Torah. The Quran came after the gospel that was given to Jesus. How is God going to teach this man all of these wisdoms of the book unless that man is born after the revelation? So it couldn't have been Jesus of 2,000 years ago. It has to be one that's coming after all has been revealed. Y'all all right? Breathe into him and he will breathe into the dust. He will form out of the dust a bird and breathe into it and it flies by Allah's permission. Brothers and sisters, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did a song called White Man's Heaven.
That's right. Come on. Classic.
Well, heaven for the white man is based off of his civilization. What is the meaning of civilization? Come on. Our lessons teach us civilization is one, having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, and refinement. It's not savage, the pursuit of happiness. But depending on what your creed is determining on your level of civilization. America has a certain kind of creed.
Yes, sir.
Abraham Lincoln said it.
Come on.
As long as black people are here and white people are here, we're going to have a problem.
That's right. That's what he said.
And there's always going to be a superior and an inferior. And I, as much as any white man, want to be superior.
That's what he said.
So under that kind of creed, they set up their civilization. Now they have luxury, money, good homes, and forcing friendships and all that stuff.
That's right.
Is that right? This is their heaven. But it's our hell. And we've been burning in it. And fire breaks down the form of anything that it touches.
Yes, sir.
And so the educational system of the white man has burned the brain of the black man. I'm talking about the original man. You are not the form in which Allah wants you to be.
No, sir. Okay, come on,
physically,
brother.
yes. Mentally, no. So if fire burns down the form of anything that it touches, and hell in America for the black man has burned our form down, then what have we become?
Come on.
Dust.
Very good teaching.
So here Allah comes and raises one up with wisdom that he will be able to come to this dust. Form a bird out of the dust.
Yes, sir.
Breathe into that bird and it flies by Allah. I want you to think about Farrakhan. And look at that bird that God in the person of Master Muhammad used the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to breathe into. And he flies by Allah's permission. Now think about this. Because we know there's dimensions to this. There's always a double reference. We believe.
Come on.
That Allah appeared in the person of Master
That's right.
July 1930. The long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. And we believe further and lastly that Allah is God. And he will set about a universal government of peace wherein we all can live in peace together. Mahdi and Messiah. Long-awaited Mahdi of the Messiah of the Christians and Mahdi of the Muslims. But there's Allah in that equation. Because those are two other titles.
Yes, sir.
But lastly, we say we believe that Allah is God.
That's right.
And he will set about a universal government of peace, wherein we all can live in peace together.
Right.
So Master Muhammad comes wearing two hats.
Yes, sir. That's right.
But the head that the hats are on is the head of Allah.
Yeah.
So when he takes off the hat of Messiah and he takes off the hat of Mahdi,
come on.
You're still looking at Allah.
That's right.
So where did the Messiah go? Where did the Mahdi go? Make him a messenger to the children of Israel. Is that right?
Yes,
Jesus the Messiah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But he grows into who? Mahdi.
That's right.
Now this is my personal testimony.
Come on. Testify.
Because I know what I just said might be controversial. But I see Honorable Elijah Muhammad breathing into Minister Farrakhan.
That's right.
The wisdom of this book. Quran.
That's right.
The wisdom of the Torah.
Yes, sir.
The wisdom of the gospel of Jesus. And made him into a bird that flies above and now that lives.
Yes, sir.
All praise to God. Now we see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You may not believe that he had a vision experience with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on September 17, 1985.
Come on, bro.
But I bet my life on that experience.
Because I know that man, Farrakhan,
That's right, man. That's right.
for the past 32 years, has been growing into oneness with his Father,
That's right.
our Father which art in heaven, the most
That's right.
honorable
Yes, sir.
Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
In the 32nd surah of the Holy
Come on,
Quran, it's called
adoration.
adoration.
Come on.
I've never seen another man
That's right.
adore another man more than I've seen the relationship between Elijah Muhammad and Minister Louis Farrakhan. In the adoration, in the adoration, I think it's in the 6th verse. From the 6th to the 9th verse. There's some words spoken here where Allah is saying,
Fill it up.
He orders the affair from the heavens to the earth. Then it will ascend to him in a day, the measure of which is 1,000 years as you count. Such is the knower of the unseen and the seen, the mighty, the merciful, who made beautiful everything that he created, and he began the creation of man from dust.
Come on.
Forming a bird out of dust and breathing into it, and it flies by Allah's permission. Then he made his progeny of an extract of worthless water. Then he made him complete and breathed into him of his spirit, and gave you eyes. Gave you ears and eyes and hearts. Little it is that you give thanks. You notice how the language changed from talking about man as him and, in the third person, and then talking about him in the second person after he breathed into him. And he said, and gave you eyes and gave you ears. This is what I see as the relationship that has accumulated between Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan over the past 32 years. Based off of his obedience to the instructions from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He did not change it one iota for the past 32 years. So there's a man that you don't see that's being represented by a man that you do see. We believe in the unseen based off of what we see. Elijah Muhammad is not dead, brothers.
No, sir.
Elijah Muhammad is very much alive. But what we see is that when you're hearing Minister Farrakhan, you're really hearing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's his ears. Those are his eyes. That's his voice. Because he's breathed into that man the wisdom of God. And now that man is breathing it into us. You waiting for the comforter to come. The minister told me directly, you quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You got him in your head, you got him in your heart. How much of you is in him? Because anytime you go through something, all you got to do is reflect on his wisdom, on how to handle it, and it gives you comfort. The comforter will be with you forever. The comforter is already here. We have it right among us. All we got to do now is submit. Like he has submitted.
Beautiful.
So what are we willing to give? To see the enemy devil taken off the planet? What are we willing to give for our salvation?
Come on.
For what our ancestors went through.
Come on.
310 years of chattel slavery, 100 years of lynching and Jim Crow laws, 62 years of broken promises by weak politicians, handkerchief head Negroes, and niggas. Now we accept God in the person of Master Father as believers.
That's right.
This is 2018. What is the duty of a civilized person? Come on. We gotta teach the uncivilized. People who are savage, is that right? We gotta teach them righteousness, is that right? Not in our own way.
Right. Come on now.
The Jesus in our midst, Farrakhan, is telling us, take my yoke upon you.
That's right.
Come on.
It is easy.
Come on.
It's heavy burden, but we gotta be yoked to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
If we're yoked to him, brothers and sisters,
Yes, we are.
We will keep all of our people.
Yeah.
That
that electromagnetic energy that brother was talking about? If we're yoked to the minister and following the guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we will have that energy. We will have that kind of power. Any one of us. So as your servants, I want you to understand, you're looking at birds that have been breathed into. And all we're trying to do is breathe back into you. Is that right? So that you and I may fly above the condition of this Trump society and bring the wisdom and righteousness of God. So let's come on and be prepared to bring on our brother, our friend. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's bring Brother Arthur back to the right. All right, all praise to Jesus. All right. Little snafu here. I want you, brothers and sisters, to put your hands together. For our student regional minister, our brother ABDUL Hafeez, who will take the flame to another level as one of the birds of Allah that has been breathed into by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Please receive him with a well-deserved round of applause as I reach him here. Assalamu
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi. We thank him for coming and raising up his messenger, Messiah, his exalted servant, that the world will come to know as the real Jesus. We speak of none other than the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. We thank Allah and the honorable Elijah Muhammad for giving unto us their spiritual son.
That's right. Yes, sir.
That man that we speak of is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
He is a tried and tested servant of God, and he's ready for his rendezvous with destiny.
Yes.
He is a Jesus in the midst of the people.
Yes, sir.
From the Jesus. He's a Messiah in the midst of the people. From the Messiah.
Yes,
He's the Son of Man. From that Son of Man on high.
Come on, brother.
Who guides him from where he is. And directs him.
Come on.
Gives him his pace for a nation of our own.
Yes.
I wish to greet all of you, my beloved brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. Let's give a hand to all of the wonderful. Now, my brother, there's a brother who wasn't able to get here in enough time, but he's here. So I'm going to give up my time, and I want brother to come forward, and I want him to have something to say. And our way in tradition, you come on time, but he sent me a text. Alhamdulillah, he came from a long distance. But he's been fighting on this vineyard for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, for the Nation of Islam, representing our people from Haiti. He's been traveling back and forth. Him and Brother Vladimir and others, Brother Joel and others that have went on different trips, but him as the Haitian representative of our ministry. When you go in and out of these countries, you put your life on the line. We're living in a very cruel world. And when you travel these days, you have to be mindful of your travel. Because we're coming to the close of one. And the beginning of a whole new era. And Allah has to make this one so terrible that you will want to leave this one for the kingdom that he's preparing for you and me. But as long as this one looks beautiful and attractive and peaceful, you'll never want to leave. So what you saw and see happening, the worst is yet to come. Allah wants to agitate us because he came that he may give us life not life that the enemy may snuff out.
Come on.
Why are white folks so fearful of a mythical figure out of Marvel Comics, of which nobody can do what he did in that movie? Huh? A mythical figure with a mythical nation. But what's not mythical is the power of the black man, unleashed by his obedience to the will and the way of God. What's not mythical is a nation that's getting ready to come to birth out of another nation. And it ain't going to be the name in that movie. It's going to be called the Nation of Islam. And we're going to fly our flag over our nation. That's what they're praying. Establishment of the Nation of Islam on earth. That's right. Brother Joseph, knock him down. Yes, sir. Come on and share a word, brother. Let's bring him up with a love and just round the smile.
Assalamu alaikum. In the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. That's right. I further bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ. Yes, sir. Right. And the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan is our divine comforter in our midst. Yes, sir. It is in those three great names that I greet each and every one of you with the greedy word of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. And we say it in Spanish, La Paz con ustedes. And in Creole, we say La paix avec nous. Brothers and sisters, this is a very important moment for me because I was born and raised in Mosque number 7.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In 1996, rather, let me correct the record because it's right here. When I first got accepted in the hands of our beloved brother, who used to be called back then Kevin Muhammad, Minister Kevin Muhammad. And then was exalted to the wonderful name of Brother Hafeez ABDUL Muhammad. But that was back in 1991. And I was so fearful coming into this body of men and women. I've never seen faces like this before. Never did I know that one day I will have a face like that. Stern, clean faces, who has a sense of determination unlike any other. That's right. And so when I entered this arena in 7C back then, and I was asked to decide whether or not I'll accept the teachings. And of course, as the power of truth would have it, I had to submit. Yes, sir.
and raised my hand, and Brother Minister Hafeez, and it was Kevin back then, read me my pledge card.
Come on, that's that.
And since then, this had an impact on my being.
Come on.
It gave me a sense of direction because I entered into a contract
Come on.
with the Lord.
Come on.
And I promised that I would engage in activities to build schools, big factories,
That's right. That's right.
really establish a new world. Little me was asked to participate in such a great endeavor.
So as a student of the law, I understood the value of contract. And not to breach contract. So from 1991, I was navigating through schools and going to Columbia University, going to Vermont Law School. So I really didn't get a chance to get my X yet. Because you don't get X's at Vermont. We don't have a mosque. Tell us back of Vermont yet.
Come on now. That's right.
But in 1996, by the grace of Allah, I was able to accept the teachings, and Brother Leon, there were two of them. The older one and the younger one, they both were the ones to receive me and heard my recitations and then verified it, and then eventually I was accepted. I must say to you, brothers and sisters, when I went through the recitation of the lessons and when it was verified and accepted, I felt that I entered into a new world. And I broke down crying because I understood the value of that mission. Then and even more now.
Come on.
And I had a dream that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan came to me in my dream and saw me and said to me that I have seen many Brother Joseph's in my 100 city tour. And then he gave me an assignment in that dream. And just a couple of months later, right at the UN, I met him, I said again, because it was so real the way I saw him in my dream. I even said to Brother Diogenes Enrique Muhammad or Brother Abdullah that that I actually met with the minister. He said, when did you do that? I said, it was real. I actually met with him. And then I said, well, it was in a vision. He said, okay, brother. He was my mentor, and I must give him credit for he's the one who actually taught me how to link the history of Haiti with Islam, to give it reference, to give me a sense of direction, to really give me the tool to fulfill the mission that the minister put upon me in that dream and face-to-face at the UN. And that's what I was going to get to. So when I saw him at the UN in 1996, and he held my hand, and he said, and this is the first time I'm saying this in public, and the man appeared so humble and so meek in front of me. I felt so embarrassed because I didn't know how to show how I was even more humble and more meek in front of him. He out-meeked me. As big as I am, you know?
Yes, sir.
So he was holding my hand and you can see, and he was like, just rubbing it. And I'm like, what's going on here? With his head bowed like this. And then he said, through you, brother, I'm going to get all the Haitian people. That's 1996.
Come on now.
I barely understand the teaching. I mean, 2 months after I got accepted, the man said that to me. And I said to myself, well, he must see something in me that I have not seen before, or I've seen yet. So based on that alone, I made sure that I do everything in my power to follow the discipline, to follow the teachings, and to do what is necessary to keep his word. I don't want to take too much of my minister's time, but I just wanted to share this with you. Because the minister is far-seeing.
That's right.
He knew I was going to stand on this podium today, speaking to you, going to Haiti with some of my brothers who are here, Brother Joel, Brother Jacques, and many others in New Jersey, and Brother Minister Patrick Mohammed. He first saw this happening, and he put it on my shoulder, that mission. And since then, my life has never been the same. I felt compelled to go through Columbia University, which was very hard for me because English was not my first language. In fact, it was my third language. Yes, I graduated with honors in high school as a valedictorian, but going into that school with those white folks telling me, oh, you are a small fish in a big sea. Don't think that you're going to do the same thing you did in the high school. They was trying to kill my spirit. But they didn't know that I had a teacher. He couldn't put me down. So I was challenging every professor at Columbia University. I learned that I was able to graduate from college. And then went on to law school. All of this wasn't for me, but to be a better servant for him and for his people.
That's right.
So eventually I went on into politics. I made a little left turn, you know. So praise be to Allah. I became a councilman and then a mayor. Became the first FOI mayor in the history of the state of New Jersey. And the first Haitian American elected official in the history of the state of New Jersey. So I want to thank you so much, brothers and sisters, for giving me this opportunity. And one day I will delve more into the work that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been doing in Haiti, and to really understand the value of this man and how his heart is for the people, regardless of creed, color, or national origin. And he's teaching us, you and me, who may be from different island or different nationality, how to love one another. Because it's only unity that will empower us to overcome this enemy. I love you. Assalamu alaikum.
Let's give another hand. All praise is due to Allah. Well, brothers and sisters, we have all been fed today by Allah's permission. So I didn't come up here with no 45-minute lecture. We've been fed very well. What we need to do is accept the reality that Allah God has come for every one of us.
That's right.
In this room.
Come on.
None of us are here in the Nation of Islam by coincidence.
That's right.
All of us were brought here by cause and effect. It's not an accident that you're present or you've come through the door. But what we must all do is clear our hearts of disease. Clear our hearts of improper motivation, agendas against God.
Come on now.
So that's where it begins, not you and me, against God. We tell Allah one thing and we do another. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was asked by his teacher, Master Fard Muhammad,
Yes, sir.
have you not learned that your word shall be bond, regardless to whom or what? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, yes, my word is my bond, and bond is life, and I shall give my life before my word shall fail. That's our pledge after him, the great messenger of God.
Yes, sir.
We're the little ones
Yes, sir.
that we make to the God after him.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But the question, as we said last week, is as important as the answer.
Right.
Have you not learned? That means there's an experience we're going to go through.
Right.
Come on.
That your word shall is going to take place.
Right.
Be bond.
Right.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Allah says be, and it is. Regardless to whom or what? Regardless to persons
That's right.
or circumstances.
That's right.
All of us have been afflicted by a person or persons.
Right.
And all of us are under trouble.
That's right.
Are we still going to make our word bond? Question is, have we been given an example
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
who've been tried?
Yes, sir.
By whom and what? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
And that example
Yes, sir.
is the man that we're going to Chicago, Illinois to see. Say this day, 2018. We're going to be with our brother Muhammad in the name of the Honorable Minister of Islam. This is Elijah Muhammad in person through Minister Muhammad. It's still Elijah Muhammad says
That's right.
always have been.
That's right.
Because him and Minister Farrakhan are one.
Yes, they are. That's right.
We're going to honor our beloved minister, whom he has not allowed any test or trial to stop him
Come on.
from the onward progress
That's right.
of nationhood.
Yeah.
He's been the deaf door 3 times.
That's right.
Nothing has held him back.
That's right.
He's been maligned, evil spoken of.
That's right.
More than any man in the annals of history. He is
That's right.
hated
Testify.
among the most wicked of
That's
those
right.
from the Sanhedrin,
Yes, sir.
the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the synagogue of Satan, the government of the United States
That's
of
right.
America, Israel,
That's right.
communism,
That's
all
right.
of them hate our fathers, Elijah and Farrakhan.
That's right.
But Allah,
Come on, brother.
Come on.
Allah,
Yeah, that's right.
in the person
That's
of
right.
Master
Master
Muhammad, loves them both,
right.
and he loves us, and he came to
That's
make
right.
us witness bearers of both of them,
That's right.
that they have done nothing but tell us the truth.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Wake up, Muslim world.
Come on.
Wake up to the reality of God.
That's right.
I'm sorry. He's not a spook.
That's
No,
right.
sir.
He's not a spirit.
That's right.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said when he spoke about the life and times of Muhammad Ali,
Come on. That's right, brother.
the only reality of God is man.
That's right. That's it.
And as we always say, always has been, always will be.
That's right.
Our problem is we live in a world that puts men down. We live in a world where men put women down. Men put themselves down. Women cast each other out. But Allah wants a new world.
Come on.
That's right.
And he wants the nation to show how that world will look. So we can no longer be in the world and of it.
That's right.
We got to be like the historical Jesus in, but not of it. That's what
right.
Elijah Muhammad was in,
That's
but
right,
not of
brother.
it. That's how Farrakhan is in,
That's
but not
right.
of it. And that's what we must maintain.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Stop straddling both
That's
sides
right.
of the fence.
That's right. That's right.
Huh?
That's right.
Muslim by one day and Negro at night. Negro in the day and Muslim at night when you make a flumi.
Don't work.
Be a Muslim 24/7.
24/7. That's right.
Be a Muslim when you're lying in your bed. Assalamu alaikum. When you wake up, assalamu alaikum. When you go to work, assalamu alaikum. When you're on the train, assalamu alaikum. When you're on the bus, assalamu alaikum.
That's right.
No. Better not do that to me. I say, well, alaikum salam. How you feeling, brother Muhammad?
Make it known.
Accept your own and be yourself. No more hiding today. We got to come out from behind the shadow. They got to see that God is building an army today. We are the best nation raised up among men. We enjoy good and we forbid evil. Sisters, this is where you belong.
Come on now.
Make it love you here. You ain't got to worry about no sexual harassment. You ain't got to worry about getting hit up on. No, we ain't perfect in the nation. We've had our problems.
Yes, sir.
But our problems can't be like the world if we follow the law that God has given.
That's right.
We only run into problems when we're errant with the law of God. His restrictive law restricts us from going here and there. But when you don't restrict self, God will deal with us.
Beautiful.
Come on. We're on our way to Chicago.
Yes, sir.
That's our Mecca.
Yes, sir.
We're going to see the reddish black stone. Right down front. Reddish black stone. We're going to kiss that stone. We're going to kiss him with righteousness. You may not get close enough to kiss him, but kiss him with your obedience. Kiss him with love. And since it's Unity Sunday, let's kiss him with divine unity.
That's right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the unity that's of and from God.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
That's the unity that we cannot break, that the enemy wants to destroy. And that's why they hate this new movie out in Black History Month. Because it's giving the black man and woman, for some strange reason, a little umph. Pep in their step. Huh? And when you see the movie, you'll see love and betrayal. You'll see respect for authority. Huh? You'll see the characteristics of humility. You'll see mixed feelings and controversy.
Go ahead now.
You'll see the struggle for balance. Right? You'll see the God within. Sound familiar to you? All of this is in the movie. Huh? The history of our people. This so-called steal that they're over, that can save lives. What did the minister say in the time and what must be done? What did he teach us about the mother brand?
Yes, sir. Come on.
It's made from the finest steel that Master Muhammad has found. It has life-saving techniques on the wheel, within the wheel, the new Jerusalem.
That's right. Yes, sir.
They have taken the teachings and have put it right in front of our face.
That's right.
Come on now.
That's what they're angry about. You running from Elijah Muhammad's teaching. Is this in the Holy Quran? Is that in the Holy Quran? Last time I checked, heart surgery is not in the Holy Quran. But you go and see a neurologist or a heart doctor and he operate on your heart. Everything is not in the Holy Quran.
Teach, brother.
That's deceptive language to keep you away from your father's teaching.
Teach on.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Sitting around waiting on a mystery God. Ain't never been no mystery God.
Never. That's right.
Men and women don't stand up and make it happen. It ain't
Gonna happen. That's right. Come on.
Allah says, I raised you up. And if we didn't raise you up, you would not repel other men. The world would be thrown into a convulsion. So we're going to Savior's Day to honor human beings.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
On February 26, 1877.
Yeah, that's right.
The holy city of Mecca.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. We're going to honor his message.
Yeah.
His Messiah.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I'll ask you this and we close. Has Mr. Trump tweeted everybody in the world? Has he answered everyone and everything? President Trump has tweeted back to little children.
That's right.
He answers everyone.
Listen.
But where on his timeline has he answered the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the challenge that he put forth to him? Right in his front yard.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Not
Yes, he
backyard.
did. Yes, he did.
Unless messenger of God goes right in front and speaks happily to Pharaoh.
That's right.
He said the ball is in your court. What you do with it now, Mr. Trump, determines America's future.
That's what he said.
The time is coming now, brothers and sisters. You didn't believe that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is that man of God, that he's already been proven to be.
That's right.
That Allah now is going to send even greater earthquakes and circumstances.
Yes, sir.
And he's going to use the forces of nature. That one day we're going to tie it to Minister Farrakhan's mouth.
That's right.
As he said.
That's right.
So we thank the Christ that he was merciful on us. We were supposed to have gotten 3 to 7 inches of snow. He knew that what that would do to the Negro. So he held it back so we could meet today. We could see each other before going into Chicago. And then when most of us leave on Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be doggone near 65 degrees. But it's still wintertime. But the only man of God that I've heard say, unusual rain, unusual snow, unusual weather conditions, warm and then cool and then hot and then cold, opening your pores, closing it, making you sick, making you ill. Out of the minister's mouth. We're not going to make him a liar. He's the most truthful man that we could have ever met in our life after the Honorable Muhammad and God himself. Brothers and sisters, I'm not a puppet. I'm not a control man. I have free will. I freely give myself to Allah and their Christ and their minister. Because I know what they're giving us is that we know is an invincible truth. Student Minister Henry, thank you.
Thank you,
For
sir.
teaching on the Christ. Thank you. Minister Muckendall, thank you. Minister David Muhammad, our scholar. In the Eastern Caribbean, thank you. Minister Sunni, thank you. Minister Abdul Salam, thank you. Brother David, thank you. Brother David, thank you. Brother Anthony, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank Allah for all of you. What Allah wants us to do is bless our people.
Yes, sir.
He didn't call us for us to be served. He called for us
That's right.
to serve them.
Yes, sir.
You're given an opportunity to speak before the people of God, come off the rostrum and serve them. And ask them, what can I do to lighten your burden?
Yes, sir.
Now, don't put more on the servant than what the servant can do, but within their means, then we must do.
That's right.
You always hear us say, whatever that we can do for you that's within our ability to do, we shall do to serve you.
Yes, sir.
Sisters, may Allah bless you as the women of God.
Yes.
You are the women of the future.
That's right.
The women of the world is not going to win. They are your sisters. And you have to go after them with the model and the example of an exemplary life that's better than the one they had. Believe me, they want to change what they're doing, but they've not had anyone consistent enough, committed enough, dedicated enough to approach them to bring them out from where they are to where they want to be. You are their answer. Go after them.
That's
So
right.
us, we got to go after the black man. We got to go after our young.
Yeah.
The older got to go after the young.
Yes, sir.
And the young got to go after the young.
That's right.
We need strong, brave fighters.
Yes, sir.
And we can break sex trafficking.
That's right.
We can break drug dealing.
That's right.
We can break the ills in our community if we build 10,000 strong. Well, let's not quote it all the time.
That's right.
Let's not put it up on social media. Let's go after it. One man after another. And we don't care whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're a nationalist. Do you believe in truth? Do you believe in freedom? Do you believe in justice? Do you believe in equality? Do you believe in making your community a decent and safe place to live? And if the answer is yes, then we make all men and boys join.
That's right.
The FOI. It didn't say join the FOI class. It said join The F-O-I.
Yes, sir.
Join us in what? The resurrection. I don't care where you are. Join the men of the fruit of Islam who are about the resurrection of our people. Join the men of the fruit of Islam who are about peace in the streets.
That's right.
Sister,
That's right.
when you see a man moving this paper
Come on.
diligently in the bowels of the train systems, above the ground,
That's
where
right.
the cars roam, knocking on doors, and he's consistent, that's a man you should try to want to get to know.
That's right.
That's a man you might want to make your man.
That's right.
Because that man is a little messenger of God from the great messenger
That's
of
right.
God, and he's willing to go through something for God. And if he's willing to go through something for God, he's willing to go through something for you. However, brothers, I want us,
Come on. Yes, sir.
I want us,
Good teaching.
the mistreatment of the female
Come on. Say.
is the sentencing from God of death. Do not mistreat the woman.
That's right.
Do not call her out of her name.
That's right.
Do not be cruel to her. Do not treat her in public one way, but in a privately you treat her differently. Stop putting your hand up at her. Stop just saying, be quiet. Leave me alone. Stop nagging me. Stop. Then you should have stayed by yourself. If you didn't want someone to talk to you, someone to be a co-counselor.
That's
If
right.
you didn't want someone to be at the head of your life, someone to help maintain things. Not just pick them up and put them down, but help give some guidance, sister. And you need to stay away from him, and you need to stay away from her, and you need an intimate relationship with God. But if you're going to come together, then you got to work as a unit.
Very good.
Complimenting one of another.
That's right.
Speaking to each other in the best manner.
That's
the way
right.
God talked to the messenger.
That's
the
right.
way the messenger taught the minister. The way Minister Farrakhan speaks to us is the way husband and wife should talk to each other. Is the way brothers
Very
and
good
sisters
teaching,
should
bro.
talk to one another. Is the way we should work together
That's
with
right.
one another. Love ye one another as he has loved us.
That's right. Well said.
We will be following his instructions. Okay? So those are just some instructive points. May Allah bless us. We pray for our Executive Council of the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
We thank them. We thank every one of them.
That's right.
We thank Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
National Assistant to the Honorable Minister
That's
Mustafa.
right.
Let's show love.
That's right.
Let's show love. That's our national. We thank Allah for our National Student National Secretary, Brother Bertie Muhammad. Come on, give him a hand. Show some love. Show some respect. We thank Allah for our Student Supreme Captain. Mustafa Farrakhan. Love and respect. We thank Allah for our Student National MDT, BTC Captain. Hussein Muhammad. Show some love. Show some respect. We thank Allah for our Student National Protocol Director, Hafeez Muhammad. Show some love. Show some respect. And the other council members, Sister Aisha, Sister Claudette, Brother Bennett, for those core groups, let's show our love. We thank Allah for our National Council, Executive Council of Labor in the nation of Islam. That's our leadership.
That's right.
That's right. I ain't got to pray for no president. I pray for my executive council.
Yes, sir.
I pray for the messenger of God.
That's right, bro.
You're sitting around here complaining about Trump this and Trump that. Why don't you pull out the Trump card, which is our unity?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, as Muhammad says, our unity
That's right.
is more powerful than a nuclear bomb.
That's right.
And Minister Farrakhan said it will solve 95%
That's
of our
right.
problems. Why don't we come back from Satan's Day and try it perfectly
Yes, sir.
once and for all?
That's right.
Total unity. No lines of barriers. No boroughs.
Come on now.
No areas. Just one group. FOI, NGT, Muslims going after black people.
That's right.
You're middle-aged and old, but we
That's
want
right.
the youth. We want the Joshua generation.
Yeah.
Let's go after them.
That's right.
Let's encourage them that's among
That's
us. Let us love one another.
That's right.
And stop thinking love is weak. Love
That's right.
is punkified. Love can kill them.
Come on now.
Huh?
That's right. That's right.
Hell has no fury. Like the scorn of a woman.
Come on now.
You know why you get scorned? Because she loves you. Once she's given her heart to you, she's not giving it to no other man, then you crush it. Woo! And the sister, once that man truly love you, you do something for him. Woo! Now,
on now.
But we don't want no destructive love. We want that creative love.
Come on now.
That produces on top of production, on top of production. Let's go after it now. Let's have a Black Wall Street going on. Let's start real business with each other. Huh? Let's connect with our brothers and sisters in Central and South America, in the Caribbean. Huh? Let's let them expose the devil and the evils that are around them. Let's create a black revolution. And not go to the movie theater and look at some mythical figure and get caught up and you stay in the theater. Going back 2 and 3 times. But that's your only reality to black independence. Wrong! It's the nation of Islam. Looking at black independence when you look at the nation of Islam and when you look at the followers of the honorable Elijah Muhammad under the honorable Minister of God. We're the most independent people that's on the planet. My last word is this. Are you willing to pay the price for standing on the truth like our minister?
Yes, sir.
Come on now. Come on. Good question, bro. Good question.
There's a price that we have to pay.
That's right.
If any man would be my disciple,
Come on.
he must do 3 things.
That's right.
What's the first one? Deny himself. Himself means herself too.
That's right.
That's right. Second one, pick up your cross. Not the minister's. Not the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's.
Come on.
Our cross.
Yeah.
And then the third one is come, follow me. Not me, but you know me. Him. Follow him. Follow him. H-E-M. Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because he is the him, H-I-M, who is the real Jesus. He shall speak to the people within the cradle and the whole age. Both Elijah and Farrakhan are doing that.
Come on.
Right now,
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
we can do the same.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to work. Let's go to work.
That's right.
Don't quit your post until promptly relieved. Soldier.
Come on.
Fall back in ranks.
Yes, sir.
This is where you belong. Come on now.
Yes, sir.
Let's do our part, okay?
Yes, sir.
Brothers and sisters, thank you for this morning. May Allah bless us with a safe journey to and fro.
Yes, sir.
Anything can happen at any time. We got to prepare ourselves. That we got to show to Allah and Christ in the name of Minister Farrakhan that we're a nation and we ain't been following just no personality. It's time for us to help the minister do his work. His music is going to be released during this weekend of Savior's Day, inshallah. Inshallah. We are waiting to hear the word, but inshallah. He's been working like that David with his harp. And so the time is near for us now.
Right.
That you and me got to stand up now and make a nation.
Right.
Not a mosque,
Come on now.
a nation. We invited you to hear the word, to be inspired, encouraged, and motivated. But we got to go to work with those ministries.
Yes, sir.
And it's time that we, the believers, stop running from our assignments. You are qualified and ready to be at the head of those ministries and a part of them. Join them when we return, and let's go to work putting services together for our people. That those among us will fund for us. We don't need no government grants to fund us. Our people who are well off to see us working, they'll come like T.I. did in Houston
Yes, sir.
with the NOI effort with the Hurricane Harvey. Came and dropped 25,000. This one dropped that. Whatever they did, they saw work being done. They will come and support it.
Right.
All right? Because they know that we want to help our people come out of our condition. Let's go to work, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
We love each and every one of you. Thank Allah for you. I don't nobody leave the room. This is the time where we close the doors. But before we do that, we want to wish for you the same thing we wish for ourselves, which is peace. And we say that by greeting you, Assalamu alaikum. Praise is due to Allah. Now, brothers and sisters, we thank Allah for each and every one of you. Those who are visiting with